Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Chris and Amanda's Song Swap Showdown. We are so happy that you could join us all here today. We are super excited. We've got an amazing show for you all today, and we've got our very special guest, Mr. Dominic Lawson, joining us today. So we are pumped to have you here, sir, and we will get to that in 1 second. Hey, so if this is your first time checking out Song Swap Showdown, well, congratulations, everyone, because you just started off your week amazing. And how our show typically works, if you're joining us, is normally, under normal circumstances, Amanda and I are each swapping 3 songs with each other that we don't think the others heard before, which is based on a theme that we usually pick by spinning the wheel themes at the end of every single show. However, we have a very special episode for you today. Get to that in 1 more second. But then we take those songs and we rate them on a scale of 1 to 5 records, with 1 being a dumpster fire.
Get out of here.
Throw it into the sun.
Get it
Throw
out.
it into the sun.
Gone.
I actually, Amanda was like, what is this thing? So I actually had little, so I'm like, dumpster fire songs.
When I logged in, I was like, why am I seeing this?
Yeah, I was like, I left it on because I was setting it up. So she's like, why is there hot trash all over
hot trash everywhere?
Yeah. So the song is either hot trash, a 1 record, or
wrong button.
Song drop. Here we go. Or heavenly music for your ears. Groove it to the eternity place.
That perfect earworm.
Fire too. That perfect earworm of a song. So yeah, that is a 5 record. That goes on the eternity playlist, the playlist which you will always want to listen to, no matter where you are. If you're the last person on earth, that'll be your eternity place. You can listen to those songs over and over again. You'll never get sick of them.
Ever.
What a thing of beauty. What a thing of beauty. Well, all right, everyone. So let's get on to today's show. Yes, we have a very special guest here in the studio with us, joining us here for an amazing episode we are pumped to get to. I feel like just leading up to this, listening to all the music and everything and just getting ready to go has just been such a joy. So, Amanda, I'm going to throw it over to you to introduce our amazing guest and talk about what today's show is all about.
Thank you. And I'm so excited to have Dominic Lawson joining us today. So we know Dominic from the good old faithful Clubhouse app. We've been blessed to meet each other on there. And he is the amazing host of Black is America. It is so wonderful. I love listening to it, and everything that Dominic touches turns to gold. He has 22 trophies now? 23?
Yes, 22.
22 trophies. Chris and I have 0. Let's just let that sink in.
we have the trophy of life.
Give me the wah.
No, don't do that. No.
So like Chris
that's for us, by the way, not for Dominic.
Absolutely. Chris and I are like here with the wah, and then Dominic's like way up here with the heavenly music. That's right.
5 records.
5 records. Dominic is right. And so Dominic had stepped forward and said, hey, I had an idea. If you guys are down for it, would you be interested in doing a Stax Record episode, partly to celebrate Black History Month and just also to have a fun topic, a fun theme for the month of February? And Chris and I jumped at the chance to have you on our show. So thank you so much for being here, Dominic. Why don't you tell our crew a little bit about you, and then we will dive into our swapping of songs.
Sure. So just wanted to say again, thank you so much. My name is Dominic Lawson. I'm host creator of Black is America, where we tell little known African American figures and stories. And I'm really pumped to be here with you. I've watched you guys show for a while now, and I really love the format and the work that goes into it. And so I think it was amazing. And so with Black History Month coming up, I was like, you know what, how can I, maybe collaborate? Because I'm always looking to collaborate, even if it's outside of what I do from a narrative podcasting standpoint. And so this is actually therapeutic for me. I know we were talking a little bit offline about it's not scripted or whatever. And it's like, oh, that is perfect, because sometimes I need to break away from that and just have a little fun. And so this is going to be fun for me. So like I said, host of Black is America. And also podcasting is my side job and my day job. So I also am the senior editor, host, and producer of podcasts from Meadows Behavioral Healthcare, where we tell stories of people going through recovery from addiction, trauma, things of that nature. So we talk to clinicians, we talk to people in recovery, and everything in between. So I am so glad to be here to talk a little bit of Stax Records with you today. It's a little bit of civic pride for me to hear today, so I'm looking forward to it.
I love that.
Us too. This is gonna be great because it's like, and it's one of these things too, like you don't realize, and we do this all the time with the show. You know, once you start, like, you always know certain songs, you know how things exist, but until you actually start doing the research and digging, you're like, oh my gosh, this entire other world opens up. And that's what it was like for me, especially this week, digging into the artists that we were sharing and the different songs, and then going back and rewatching and reading more about Stax again and how it came about and the history of it. And I shared with us offline, and I will put this in our group and all that, but there was a great little documentary that I found on YouTube, which had been done, I think, on like PBS, but it was up and it was great watching that and hearing from the artist and hearing the story of Stax again. So super excited to dive into today's show. We've got a good playlist going. This is like, I like want to just keep this playlist going too. Like the way we have our 6 songs, I'm like, it just isn't enough. It just isn't enough. And this is like the hardest thing. Always trying to narrow the songs down. Very hard.
I agree. And just when you start, to your point, Chris, the start of our playlist, which we always have our yearly playlist. So go to the Song Swap Showdown 2024 playlist, and you will find our 6 featured songs right on there this week. And I'm telling you, the minute you turn it on, this beat, the vibe, everything just makes you feel, I'm not a cool person. We've established this. But when we turn on that playlist, I have got this imaginary, like, alter ego going. Like, I just transport me to the late 60s and early 70s. And I'm like, I belong there. Even though I wouldn't, but because I'm not cool, but I belong there. It goes into your bones, this music. You can't shake it off. Everyone just like absorbs it and takes it in. It's such a great part of history.
Well, I think, and I appreciate you both saying that. I think it just goes to show that, like, when it, whether it's Motown or Stax and others, like, there's all these songs that are the soundtrack of America, right? And it's a lot of times you don't realize that many of them come from the same source, right? Because it's just amazing. And here in Memphis, we like to pride ourselves on our creativity, especially in music, but in other facets. I'll give you a little fun fact. Here, when you listen or watch the WWE or whatever, you see those musical intros. Yeah, that started here. We were the first ones to do that, right? Like to have those music intros and stuff like that. So again, creativity in Memphis just kind of go hand in hand. And so when it comes to Stax Record, it is the standard bearer of that creativity from here.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, it is one of those things, and we were just talking about it like a little bit offline too, with like, how we've done in the past. We've done a couple Motown episodes, and which happen to be right now. I showed Amanda the other day, like our one Motown episode from like a year ago or 2. It's like the number 1 most downloaded show right now, currently on our audio feed. And we have talked about that now twice. We've picked a lot of songs, but yeah, the Stax Records catalog is honestly, to me, just as important. It really is. The artist, what that label did, what it meant, and the sound that came out of there, and the artists, I mean, just absolutely such a big part of the story of American music,
Absolutely.
Really.
Absolutely. And like I said, when I pitched the show to you guys, I'm biased for obvious reasons, right? but I said it like, listen, Motown is great. It's wonderful. It did amazing things, but I think Stax rivaled Motown in that regard, as far as the artists, as far as the hits, this, that, the other. And so I just thought it was important to, let's try to do something here and try to pitch it to Chris and Amanda. And so I'm just so glad you guys accepted.
No, we're
we like immediately bit.
Yeah,
we're like,
I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I love this idea. We're doing it. Absolutely doing this. So, all right, so let's get into it. I know we got a lot of friends. I just want to say hello. We got a ton of friends checking in right now. I see you, Alex, Mark, Raph, Dave, of course, the VP of Song Swap Showdown,
the VIPs.
And of course, Ian from Australia is checking in as well. So we will get to everybody's comments and song picks. It's an exciting show. We're all pumped today. So let's start going. Who's going first?
I want to.
Who's going first? And
I want to.
and are we rating the song? We're still rating these songs today, right? We're still doing a 1 to 5 records. All right. I'm for it. Let's go. I got my ratings ready to go.
Can I give you my first song? Is it okay? Because I just love the sass my first song to you guys brings. Is that all right?
You go. Go. Amanda, you're on deck.
Yes. The first song that I gave you guys to review was Mama's Baby, Daddy's Maybe by Hot Sauce. I had to represent some ladies.
I feel like that's going to be your new nickname as well as that girl.
Mama's Baby.
Amanda, Hot Sauce Sharp. That girl, Hot Sauce Sharp.
I mean, next time I'm logging in as that because that sounds fabulous. No convincing here.
No.
Done.
Hot Sauce.
Hot Sauce. Spicy. I'm a spicy jalapeno.
That's right.
I love it.
So Mama's Baby, Daddy's Maybe. I love the sass in this song. The delivery is outstanding. So tell me what you guys think about it. But Chris, are you going to cue up a little bit of these songs?
No, absolutely. I got everything queued up, ready to go. Okay. Let's listen to a little bit of Mama's Baby, Daddy's Maybe by Hot Sauce.
Boy, is that such a good song, guys, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, it's great.
Absolutely. And then it gets into obviously my heart and soul gets into a little bit of storytelling later on in the story in the song. Yeah. So no, it's an amazing song. It really is. And I do love the sass as well.
It's good. It's good.
Character building in this song is really great. And Dominic is an excellent storyteller, so I love that you immediately dove into the story behind the song a little bit about I should say not behind the song, within the lyrics itself. It's great.
Oh yeah, and the things about Stax Records, and many of the artists, the storytelling was evident, right? Because when you listen to a Hot Sauce or Otis Redding, not only are you getting the story, but you're getting the emotion with that story, not even just through their voice, but also through the music and that bass line that just really draws you in. And so it's an amazing song about an amazing artist. And so I was like, because I remember my wife gets in, me and Kenda, my wife Kenda, we were listening to it and she was like, oh, okay, she went there. All right. I guess that's where we are. So no, it's an amazing song. I love it.
Yeah, I love the vibe of this. I think this is just great. And right away, you hear the Hammond B organ and all that. And it's like, and that was the one thing that I actually didn't even realize. And it wasn't when I watched that documentary I was talking about, but like Booker T and the MGs were like the house band for pretty much every artist when Stax Records was starting. I mean, they were the band, it was like, just absolutely blew my mind. And it's like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. That's why everything sounds like the way it does, which also is like, makes like the Stax Records sound like uniquely to them. And I think that's amazing too. I mean, I absolutely love that part of the story. And it's like, man, you think about like those guys were just like playing on like all these iconic like records and working with all these amazing artists, and we'll get way more into that later on. But that blew me away too. And I love this song. The vibe of this song is great. Tons of sass, tons of attitude. This is a good Amanda pick.
It was a week.
Yeah, so I was like, both of Amanda's songs this week were very representative
100%.
the week Amanda was having. I get you. I hear you, Amanda. We hear you loud and clear.
You hear me, right? In our show
Hear you.
every week, I think is very evident Amanda's mood leading up to the show by my song choices. This week is no different. So, how do you guys rate Mama's Baby, Daddy's Maybe by Hot Sauce?
Oh,
1 to
that's a
5
good one.
records. Where are we going?
Well, first of all, spoiler alert. I don't think you're getting any 1s and 2s out of
Amen.
anybody today. That is
Amen.
not happening for sure. Not when you're talking about this amazing catalog
Yeah.
of songs. And it's not, I mean, you're not even gonna get like three, like as in a whole 3. Like you're not gonna get any of that this week. And so I feel like all these songs are just have such a great sound and vibe, and you really can. You said it before, like when you put them on a playlist, it's just like they just all go into each other
Yes.
really well, and you really get sucked in. And I think it's great. I love it. So for me, this is a song I could definitely listen to, and I will put it on. Like it's not a skippable tune or anything like that. I give it a solid 4. It's a solid 4 record tune for me.
I received that 4.
Yeah.
Dominic, what say you?
I'm going to give it a 4.5. I'm going to give it a 4.5 because,
4.5.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
I've been, I listened to it multiple times, and I just wish it was just a tad longer. I want more. I want more of it.
Give me more
It does
story.
end.
Yeah, I want a little bit more, right? So
Yeah.
that's the only reason for it's not a 5 for me.
It's that rhythm and that groove, man, that vibe. Like you get locked in, and you're like, oh wait, the
You
song's
do.
over. Like I just want to keep playing. You're right.
I know, and luckily our playlist does kind of keep going a little bit. Like it changes
Yeah.
the tune a little bit, but I think the way that they're set up on our playlist, even it's a nice, flow to the next song. So, all right, I receive your 4 and 4.5 records. So far, coming in hot,
4.5.
coming in hot with hot sauce.
Coming in hot. with
Coming in
sauce. I
hot.
love
Yeah, Amanda kicking us off with the heat. Bringing the heat.
it. Can I share something really quick? Or I'll share it when we share one of your songs, Chris. So I'll wait.
Okay.
It was something about Booker T and the MGs that was very important to highlight,
okay.
but I'll wait.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, very good. So who's going next? Am I next or Dominic next? I think we should you want to do that?
We got.
Well, you want to?
We got.
All right, let's do that. All right, everybody. Shake it up. Take our shot. So listen, Amanda and I, no secret.
Energy, just to clear
We talk
it up.
about it every week. That Amanda and I are huge coffee drinkers. And the big thing that I've been trying to do is actually cut back on the amount of coffee I drink. I'm honestly, like, full disclosure, I'm like a 6-cup coffee kind of. Like, I go up and down, and it's like I have my 3 cups in the morning, sometimes 4 cups in the morning. And then and as the day goes on, like, you get that midday crash. And for me, like, that is a real thing, especially because I'm like, I feel like I'm in go mode. And then I like, oh, it's 3 o'clock. Like, where did all my energy go? And then I'm going for a cup of coffee. So that's the thing I am trying very hard to knock out. So I'm not going for that cup of coffee, because when I have that coffee later on, I get jittery. I get a little like anxious and stuff like that. But now that I am using Magic Mind, this beautiful little shot of green goodness, it is changing my life.
Activated.
Changing my life. QVC activated. Changing my life because I don't need to grab that cup of coffee anymore. Like, really. And I don't feel jittery. I get a great jolt of energy, and it's 100% healthy because it's loaded with awesome, all natural things, such as, Amanda. What is it loaded with, Amanda? What potency?
Ashwagandha. Bacopa, oh, I was so close.
Nailed it.
Linaria.
I like this. How did it all of a sudden it became like Bacopa Nimaria?
That's what like you do. So I had to like try to like get in.
Bacopa Minari.
Bacopa Minaria. And turmeric.
Turmeric. And it's got mushrooms. The good,
nailed it.
Not the other kinds of mushrooms. The cordyceps are great. And no, but this, I'm serious though. Like, this is loaded, and it is a great product. And we've always said it. Like, Amanda and I do not just talk about any products. Like, we use the products that we talk about, and this is one that you and I are both totally in love with. It has made a big difference. So listen, say goodbye to feeling amped up and hello to feeling dialed in, because that's exactly what this will do. It'll reduce your stress. It'll make you more calm, give you more energy, give you focus and clarity, which is another thing, which I also find that if I drink too much coffee, I'm all over the place. Not with this. I have this shot and no jitters, and I am like locked in and focused. And it also, you got all the benefits. So there's no garbage in this. Absolutely zero garbage. No sugar, none of that stuff. So listen, check it out. This is great. We have a link in our bio right now. You need to go to that link, and you're going to get up to actually 56% off your subscription for the next 10 days with our code SONGSWAP20. Use the link right now. It's in our show notes. Get it. It's awesome. You're not going to regret it. I really think that, especially if you're having a lot of issues and drinking a lot of coffee, you want to go for Magic Mind. And once again, get up to 56% off your subscription for the next 10 days with our code SONGSWAP20. Amanda needs that ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha. And some have Gatorade, some have Haterade. We have Creatorade. How was that?
I love it.
Boom.
Bacopa Minari.
The Bacopa, I did the hand again.
You're like, the Bacopa Minari.
Bacopa Minari. And Paula, you're right. You 1,000% heard malaria. We don't want those as ingredients. Yeah. You're correct.
And by the way, Paul is saying they should ban Amanda from reading those ingredients because I heard malaria.
And when we listen back to the show, it will be there.
Yeah.
Can you edit that part out?
Yeah. When Magic Mind listens back, they're like, that was a great read, except that it sounded like Amanda said you're going to get malaria from drinking her.
Listen, the last interaction when they saw me reading the ingredients, they said, bless her heart. They know.
They know.
They know what they got. All right. Back into the music. All right. Who's next? Me? Oh, no, I think our guest should go next.
Okay.
Right?
I'm down for that. So I know you've heard of house music before, but have you heard of clean house music before? Let me explain. So growing up in Memphis, obviously the Stax sound was very prominent, and so on Saturday mornings, it would be played very prominently throughout the house. But that's also because it's like, oh, this is a jam. And then also it's like, crap, we got to clean the house. I know what that music means, right? So that's what that is. And one of those songs was Soul Finger by the Barkays, right? And I think for me, the thing that really gives me is the trumpet. Like the trumpet just has its own little vibe, right? Has its own little vibe when it comes in. So yeah, Soul Finger by the Barkays.
Oh man, yeah, that's a good one, and this is great too. And we'll go into this, but let me play a bit. I got a feeling even if you didn't know what the name of this was, everybody's gonna be like, oh, I know this one. Exactly. I know this one. That's what happens a lot. Yeah. All right, so let's play a little bit of Soul Finger by the Barkays. Always love that.
The sound of a party.
It really is. Right away. You're just into it.
Exactly, Alex. Exactly. 100%.
Going on. I could, shovel it. This beats Barney's cleanup song all day long.
Right.
Yes. Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
So yeah, like it's one of those things where it's a fantastic record, right? And it brings good vibes, but there's a little bit of like, man, this is interrupting Saturday morning cartoons. Like, come on, man. But I get it though. We gotta clean the house.
That's
so
right.
Why not do it to some Soul Finger? That's fine.
Yeah. No, this is great because this is another one of these songs where you would hear all the time on, especially like because usually this and Booker T, you would see like a lot of like DJs would come on and talk, or it would be behind a lot of ads.
Yeah.
Also, too, you hear it a lot in if you go to any kinds of shows and things like that, usually it's like the in-between music they'll play. They're always either playing like bar keys or Booker T in between before the band comes on, or like right after the band ends and everybody's leaving. It's like the exit music, like boom, like because it just brings you in a vibe, it brings you down, like it's just cool. And I've always loved this song. And I know Dave's saying this, and I thought the same thing, Dave. I always remember Soulfinger being used in Spies Like Us while they were in the middle of Siberia. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd says the bar keys must have a really hard time getting gigs. And that is great. I always remember that. I always think of Spies Like Us too. That's a great memory. You're great minds think alike there, Dave.
I love that. This is like the best version of what Kenny G music can be like for like weddings. You know how like you stroll in and Kenny G's playing. Like, give me something better. Like, I mean, I don't want to downplay Kenny G because he's very.
You just threw shade at Kenny G. I love it. Listen, you fired up.
Listen,
hot sauce girl.
I am hot today. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, Kenny G has a lane. Wedding intro, I guess, but man, imagine walking into a wedding with this.
It's like Kenny G, wedding, like the start of it, that's fine, but like that wedding reception though,
yeah,
I want to throw on some barcades, yeah.
I mean, the hardest thing about this is like that saying, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Imagine if this is playing, I'm not going home. I'm still staying. I'll help clean up. I'm not. They'll have to throw me out.
Men revealing secrets here.
Absolutely. I appreciate Dave's comment there because again, it just goes to show how you know these songs, but you're not really sure where they come from, who did them, stuff like that. He also mentioned earlier Green Onions, if you will. It's like you may not know that song by title, but for me, the first time I heard Green Onions was watching the movie The Sandlot.
Yes.
When the kids with the uniforms pulled up on everybody. So like, again, it just goes to show, again, Stax Record is really part of America's soundtrack, whether we realize that or not. So
it's so true.
Yeah, I think that is a great point. And that's the thing too. Like I said, the first time I heard Green Onions is, so here in New York, there used to be a classic rock radio station for years. It was called WNEW. And whenever the DJs would do the read of all the upcoming gigs in the New York, New Jersey area, they would instantly have like Green Onions would be playing as a music bed, and they would be doing all the announcements of who's coming in the area, who's playing where, and all that. And for years, I just was like, wow, that's a really cool song. I had no idea it was Booker T. I didn't even know it was called Green Onions until finally, like, as I got a little older, it was like, oh yeah, that's Booker T and EMG's Green Onions. That's what my dad had told me that. And I was like, I didn't even know that was like a thing. And that was, that was where I first heard that. And then actually like eventually learned that it was Booker T and EMG's and Green Onions. And, and now it's like, you can't ever unhear that song when you hear that. And much like this one by the Bar Keys, you can't unhear this. I mean, you hear this and you're like, that's the song. I've heard that song. Yes. Almost everybody has heard this song at some point, somewhere, on something, or listening to something, or attending an event. Like, this has been played.
Agreed.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. And I love the trivia that Dave threw in there as well, when he talked about, why Green Onions was called Green Onions. Because I think one of the band's sisters, like, don't call it funky onions, just call it green onions. Because I think funky was kind of a somewhat of a bad word of some sort. Sure. So they wanted to turn it to green onions. So yeah, love that.
Just keep it chill with green onions.
Absolutely.
That's right. And I like green onions, by the way. I always throw them in stuff. All right. So where are we rating this? Where is Bar Keys? Where is this coming up in everybody's rating system? How many records are we giving Soulfinger?
Okay. So I love the trumpets. I love how it bangs in with like Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yeah.
Like, sound. I'm like, yes, I got this one. Yes. It's an instant party. I love how the Soulfinger just kind of like subtly is said. You're like, like, I want to be part of that chorus. Like, I had one job. I just want to be able to do it. Just one job. Let me do it.
You had one job.
And they nailed it. They nailed it. So I'm going to rate this one at 4.5 records because I just think it is so comfortably placed anywhere in life. And again, it makes me just feel like a whole different person.
Yeah, and I put that, Alex, how many hot sauce do you give it?
4.5.
4.5.
4.5, baby.
Yeah, I'm very much in the same league as you with this, Amanda. It's such an iconic tune, and we had an earworm episode like a few episodes back. We talked about earworms, and that's the other thing too about a lot of Stax Records artists, man. They are earworms. They stick with you, and this is one of these that you hear it, and the repetitiveness of a lot of these rhythms and things like that, like they're just so infectious. I love it. So I'm right there with you. I actually feel like I'm gonna boost this up a little bit more.
Woo!
And I'm gonna go 4.8 because I dig it. I love the groove and I love the sound of this. And yeah, you listen to it and locked in, great feeling. You could definitely, this is a great song that works in almost any setting, party, cruising around, chilling out in the back, barbecue, hanging in the pool, hanging with friends. Like really, I mean, it just comes on, and who can hate on this? I mean, there's just no, like, I feel like, generationally, I could definitely see the kids, getting into it. But I think it's a makes for a cool song. I mean, it definitely brings back a lot of good memories for me too, and that's why I dig
not
it.
Not all good for me. Not all good for me, but only from standpoint of like the whole house cleaning part. Like I know that I know what that means, right? But no, I think a few things if I could just when it comes to Motown versus Stax, and I'm not trying to make this episode about that. But when you hear Motown, it's very polished, it's very clean, it's very, very smooth, if you will, right? But when you move that soul down south, it's a little bit more funky, a little bit more edgy, a little bit more gritty, right? And I think Soulfinger really highlights that. And Amanda, to your point, if you was around 926 Macklemore in the 60s as a kid, you probably would have had a chance to be on that record because those records, the people who are saying Soulfinger are kids out out in the street. So what they did was, a lot of times, a lot of times what they would do is put the sound speaker outside so people can hear, and so so when people walking by, so I think it was Dave Porter and Isaac Hayes like, hey, this is how the kids are saying Soulfinger. So if you can figure out that time travel piece, you might be able to pull that off.
Okay, I'm gonna work on that, but also I'm gonna derail just a second here because this is what I do during the show. All right, so I just started watching just yesterday, Good Girls. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's where three women who have fallen on hard times financially rob a grocery store, and this transpires into a bunch of different unfortunate events that they embrace, and they're like, okay, we might as well monetize. And so I just want to say, I told Marcus, I said, I mean, she said it was a victimless crime because they have insurance. He's like, Amanda, you would get caught. Now, this is true. However, if there's ever a reenactment of like a 2020 about me robbing a grocery store, of course, with no weapons, I want this music playing during the reenactment and me stopping and saying, something like, I mean, it gives me the power and the confidence to go and make money.
So basically, it's like is a man like open up the register and like, it just really plays in, just kind of like that. All right, cool. I'll score it for you. I'll score it for you.
There you go.
Imagine like the cashier, the manager, just like starting to bounce, and all the people on the floor doing the same thing, like tapping their fingers. Like it wouldn't be that bad. Like I would want the experience to be good for them. But also mama needs money. I mean, so here we go.
You're killing Paula, by the way. Hot sauce, get that money.
Hot sauce, get that money. Mama's baby, let's do it. Big money.
Big money, no way.
So all 6 of these songs, if Amanda ends up on a documentary, are going to get played throughout all of it. Mark my words.
A nice true crime.
We've always said that this show is evidence.
It is.
So did they do it? Well, I mean, we have about 300 videos on YouTube where Amanda's talking about like doing this stuff. So yeah, we have the evidence.
Pull up the serial killer board. We got to
I'm
add
in
a grocery
tears.
store to it now too. Because,
Yeah.
Yep, just put a finger too. A finger for soul finger.
Put
It'll
a finger for soul
yeah,
finger.
you've got like the water bandits, from Home Alone. It'll be a
Right.
soul finger for Amanda. Who knew Stax Records could bring so much out of Amanda early on a Monday morning? Confession.
Imagine Dominic narrating Amanda's robbing the store story.
Dominic.
I think we now have to like actually do that. We have to actually make a TikTok with that. Like,
it was at that
was it?
moment Amanda knew.
It was a cold February morning. It's a cold
Oh.
February morning.
Oh my
2024, when Amanda Sharp from Idaho, Michigan, made the worst decision of her life.
There it is.
Her baby needed food, so she did what no woman wanted to do: rob a store. Let's go. Let's do it.
Oh my goodness.
I am in tears.
Yeah, Amanda, normal people don't pick out the soundtracks for heist reenactments.
Well,
Wait, what?
No one does that? I think that's just me being very humble and knowing that, to Marcus's point, I'd get caught. I'm a planner. What can I say?
So Amanda planning the heist and literally going, wait, there's one last thing. Is there anything else? No, there's one last thing. We haven't talked about the soundtrack.
Can someone cue up Song Swap Showdown 2024, please? Someone.
That playlist.
I'll give you $50 when I get it.
Oh,
Give me
my
$50.
goodness.
Oh, this is hilarious.
Yes. Mind you, the age of her baby.
Yes,
Paula.
he's 17, Paula. He's 17. I'm not stealing formula. I'm stealing steaks.
Hey,
Oh, my
All right.
goodness.
Well,
So 4.8 records and 4.5 records.
Dominic in the lead.
I'll take it.
We'll take it.
All right.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry to derail
Woo.
so heavily, but I went there. All right,
Love it.
Chris,
Love it. All right.
Your first song to us. Bring us home.
All right, so my first song to you guys is Jelly Bread by Booker T and the MGs. Booker T and the MGs. And this was hard because there's so many Booker T songs that I love, and I've got a bunch of Booker T on vinyl and all that, and it's one of my. I love putting Booker T on like a Sunday. Sunday like later morning is kind of like my thing. I cue it up, I throw it on my record player.
Love it.
And I just sit there and have my fourth cup of coffee. But I love Booker T, man. It's just great. And so it was like, what do I do? Which one do I pick? But I'm like, Jelly Bread is a good one. It's just because, listen, everybody knows Green Onions, and I'm not going to go for Green Onions. Like, we all got it. We just talked about it. But, like, Jelly Bread's kind of funny because Jelly Bread is almost like Green Onions Part 2 kind of a feel. Like, it's a lot of the same chord structure and notes, which is pretty funny. And just going back to, like, what we were talking about, like, where the songs come from and the names and the song Green Onions. But I was actually reading on songfacts.com, and they were talking about this. And so he said green onions, jelly bread, soul dressing, my sweet potato, red beans and rice. Booker T and the MGs named plenty of their tunes after food. And Booker T explained in Uncut Magazine, he goes, that came from Al Jackson Jr., our drummer. He loved to name the songs after different foods according to how funky or how sweet they were, and he just never ran out of names. That was Al, great drummer, great person. His jokes kept the mood up all the time. So there you go. That's the meaning of why a lot of these songs are named after food, because it's food. It's how funky or how sweet they are. And I love that, though. It really makes it stand out. Like, I just love that the name of the song is Jelly Bread. Like, that's it. Jelly bread.
Jelly bread.
I love it. So, and we were talking about it before that, a lot of the early Stax records, like that early formation of Stax, those bunch of records, Booker T and the MGs were the house band. Like, they just played on all those records. And even more to your point too, Dominic, you're like, yeah, if you were hanging out in front of Stax Records, there was a good chance you were probably making it on a recording, because that was it. I mean, that was like the kind of the community that was cultivated, and I just love that. It's just a community of like music and people like making music and just loving what they're doing and just creating like awesome stuff. And we'll talk a little bit about Otis in a bit because I know it's coming up. But even his story is absolutely fascinating with the Stax and how that came about. But I just dig it, man. And this is one thing too, with Booker T, it's just a vibe. And whether a DJ is quote unquote talking over his music or it's a thing that they're playing like in between or wherever you are, it's another one of these groups and music that comes on and you just can't help but like just groove and get sucked into that vibe, man. I don't know. It cuts through a lot of noise for me. And the one thing for me, which, my personal opinion is I feel like when you hear this music that especially like Booker T for me, like it just is so relevant. It just stands up and like you like I said, I think it cuts through a lot of like what we hear today. And you also hear the roots of things and all that. And, real quick, a little aside is that I actually had a chance to meet Booker T and interview him for a documentary I was making a few years back. So real quick story is we got involved with an artist up in Vermont, and his name was Bo Thayer, and he was doing a festival down at the Tweed River in Vermont called the Tweed River Music Festival. And it was just a collection of music. And the one year we went up there, we decided we were working with Bo, and we said we were going to make a documentary of the event because it really was truly like this whole community event, beautiful thing, all different types of music. But Booker T was the headliner of that event. And we filmed all the different bands and all that, and we did little interviews with everybody. And I got the chance to sit down with Booker T face to face and talk to him for about 15 minutes and just talk to him about music, talk to him really quick about the festival and why he liked doing this. And then we got to film all of Booker T's entire set. And I just got to tell you, it was absolutely a magical moment for me. Like being able to like not only hear that music live, but to film him and talk to him and get to meet him and shake his hand. I mean, all of it was just amazing because literally I felt like, I don't get starstruck. I've had the opportunity. I've been blessed to have met a lot of stars, a lot of recording artists over the years. But Booker T for me was one that was like, I was cool during and everything. But afterwards I was like, oh my God, I just met Booker T. Like, holy smokes. I can't believe I just shook the man's hand. Like, it just felt like, and I'll always remember that kind of stuff. Like I've told my Tony Bennett story before. It's like, there's certain people that you just like, man, what a legend, like an absolute legend. So anyway, that's my quick Booker T story. And so every time I hear Booker T now, I am instantly like right there watching him play. I saw him play this song live as well as all his hits. So it was just magical. It was really cool.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of magical, why don't you cue up a little bit of Jelly Bread?
Once again, another song I think everybody's going to be like,
oh, Imagine walking down the street, owning that street, going to get my mail. The organ.
That Hammond B5.
I just feel like I can dance to this type of music.
I mean,
it's more of like a shimmy. I don't have rhythm. I just kind of have rhythm.
It's just great, man. Just the repetitiveness of it, but you hear all the little bits.
It's not overdone. It's enough.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
bread.
Yeah. I mean, you can't beat Steve Cropper's guitar sound and his playing style, absolutely out of this world. And can you think of a better rhythm combo? I mean, Donald Duck done. I mean, holy smokes, that locked in bass line, the groove between him and the drummer Al Jackson. It's just awesome. Like, and it sounds like it sounds simple, but yet super hard. Like, to just be locked in for that long and just grooving along. I dig it. And that's all Booker T stuff. Like, all this era is just absolutely outstanding. So I'm a huge fan, as you can tell.
No, of course. And I love Jelly Bread. And I love how all the records you were mentioning earlier are like soul food dishes, if you will. Something definitely I'm familiar with, on Sunday afternoons after church and stuff like that. So it's just like when you was naming them off earlier, it's like, man, I'm getting hungry over here. Grandma's sweet potato pie and all the stuff. So yeah, it's which, by the way, I think my grandmother's sweet potato pie is the absolute best. I'll fight anybody over that. But that's another conversation for another day.
Oh, I think I'm putting it in order now so you can ship it to me in time for.
Do you know? So one thing,
putting it in order.
One thing I will say is, I wish so desperately I had soul food around me, that I grew up within soul food, because my one grandma died at 62. She was very young. I heard she cooked well, but it wasn't like the soul food. And I don't remember tasting any of it. And my mom was a terrible cook. She'll admit it. I'm not disclosing any family secret here, which is why I'm a terrible cook. And so my boys would just love if we could just come down to you, Dominic, and we can taste a bunch of soul food, please.
Listen, come on down. But I have to warn you, though, if you're going to eat it, I hope you don't have anything else planned for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
You will take a nap. And I can't, I can't confirm how long you're going to be out. So
I'll be resuscitated with magic mind.
I was going to say,
nice setup there.
Wake me up at 4 and give me my magic mind.
but I love that story. Fair enough. But no, I love that story, Chris, about Booker T, but also of Steve Cropper and Duck and Al Jackson. And I'll get serious here just for a little bit, because outside of Stax Records in Memphis, it definitely takes place during the time of the civil rights, movement and struggle and things of that nature. And so Stax Records really was like a green zone for all of that. And Booker T and the MGs really solidifies what Dr. King was trying to ascribe to for future generations to come, where they can, we can all come together and collaborate, kind of like how we are doing right now. I think it really highlights that. But Stax Records really was a green zone. It was really about the music. And, there's also stories where a Steve Cropper had to, buy a burger for Booker T because Booker T wasn't allowed to go to the front of the restaurant or something like that. But I think it just goes to show that those guys were a band of brothers, and it just goes to show how powerful music can be.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things too, which, you're so into the music and so into the story, you do forget that part of it. And that's the thing with the documentary that I really like that they highlighted, is that, everybody was just so involved in making music and being artists, and it just wasn't even it's not even a thought until you sort of left the bubble, that green zone. And then it was like, oh yeah, there's still a ton of work to be done. But in that space, didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was creating together and making really good music and having fun doing it,
Absolutely. And I think Stax Records was a proof of concept that it can happen outside of 926 East Macklemore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I really appreciate you, appreciating Booker T and stuff like that, but I also appreciate that you appreciate the green zoneness of Stax Records and stuff like that. So that was a story I wanted to kind of tell earlier, but it's talk about Jelly Bread first.
It's a great point. It really is. I mean, it really was an interesting time, that came about, and it came, I think, to me, it all came together at the right time. When you think about all the series of events leading up to how Stax Records and the fact that the owners were actually, they wanted it. One was like more on the side, I want this to be country, and that's the kinds of bands they were going to record, and and this is just what happened. It just organically, like, everything came together at the right time. And
absolutely,
I find that fascinating too. It's like, I want to start one thing, but this is happening. Well, okay, so this is happening. Great. So we're just going to let it happen. And I think that's amazing. So, all right. So where are you guys rating because we still haven't even rated just yet.
Welcome to a 3-hour Song Swap Showdown. Hope you scheduled the time, Dominic.
That's right. Where are we rating Jelly Bread by Booker T and the MGs?
I'll go after you, Amanda.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 4.5. I just love it. It, again, transforms me to a time in the past that I just feel just magically, musically was so amazing. So 4.5.
All right, 4.5.
I'm going to give it a 4.9. It's one of those songs where,
right,
you know, when you listen to it, it's like you got to make a face, right?
Oh yeah,
right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like it just naturally happens, right?
That
it's
riff,
like
man.
Right. It's like if it was a seasoning, it would be slap your mama seasoning, right? Like that's what it would be, right? Because like when you hear, he's right. So like that 4.9.
Slap your mama seasoning. I love that.
So interesting is it does give me like all of this music gives me this ridiculous confidence. So you're right when you're saying that, like it's true. Like, yeah, like slap your mama seasoning goes into Amanda. Yeah. Next thing I know, I'm going down the street going, let's do it.
It's the funk. It's the funk part of it, right? It does give you an air of confidence. Like, you know what? I am Cole. I am really good at what I do. Like, and it's almost like you're walking down the street and it just plays in your mind, kind of like the grocery store robbing scenario. I was just store. Right. And now we turn this into a true crime doc. But no, it definitely does that for sure. It does give you some confidence in that funk.
Someone's got to pay attention to Amanda today. I got to pick up Marcus from the airport. This is going to be something.
Well, we know what you're listening to on the way there.
You know, that's right. Watch out for some TikTok.
And and Dave coming in with Booker T and MGs played a cameo in the blues. Absolutely. 100%. Love that whole sequence.
All right. So my next sassy song to you guys this morning, my second and final song to you, is Going on Strike by The Emotions. Let's talk about the emotions.
Let's talk about the emotions, because Amanda, I know you're going through it. So this song came on, I go, all right. And,
you know, it makes me want to be like, Chris, you're going to throw me a shovel, and I'll be like, all right, I'm digging us out now. It gives me the confidence to dig out versus just lay in the hole like I was. Throw me my tools and I'll take it from here now. So Going on Strike by The Emotions is getting me out of my rut. Thank you.
Getting you out of the rut. And I dug this song, man. This is good. And this was one I hadn't heard before. And much like even too, like your first song, Hot Sauce, I hadn't heard that one either. So this was really good for me because while I feel like that Dominic and I, every song that like obviously I heard my songs, but then Dominic sent me his songs. I'm like, oh, I heard Dominic's songs, but like your songs to me were like, oh, this is cool. Like those weren't really on my radar. So it was really nice to like listen to those and then listen to the lyrics and then find out a little bit about like the artists and stuff like that. So I was pumped with this one. This was really good. I really I dug it. And I like the lyrics on this.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. You know, it's just very much, it's just out there. So let me play a little bit of Going on Strike by The Emotions. So everybody catches the feeling. Get Amanda's feel, sir.
That's right. And to Dominic's point about Mama's Baby, there's a storyline in this one too. More of a warning.
Western Union and telegrams keep informing me about Vietnam.
Love it.
The baby's over there, and my friends are wondering why I don't go nowhere. Well, if you're one of them, I still love you, and I'm going on strike till my baby comes back. All night parties and invitations, even from his best friends. They've been waiting, I can tell they've been thinking this would be time I let him in. His love is good now, as even then, so I'm going on strike till my baby comes back. Ooh.
So good.
His love is strong.
Good.
To cross the sea.
That groove, man. That locked in groove. I love it. And Dominic, real quick to your point, I was gonna say that too, so I'm glad you brought that up. Is like that is the big difference once again between the Motown sound and the Stax Records songs is, and there's nothing wrong, you know, but the produced, the polished,
Yeah.
everything's like kind of sweet and it's good. Like that's a great sound, and that makes that Motown sound very distinctive, right? But the Stax Records is literally, and Amanda knows I love this, is literally like we walk into a room, we hit the record button fires up, and we jam out and we play, and we're like, that's good. Let's go. Like it's just that the sound is very live, very raw, just super emotional, not as overproduced or clean. It's just you hear it, like you just hear it, and it's like even the little imperfect, like they're left in, and not that the song is imperfect, but I think anybody, especially any players out there, you guys know that's like, you know what, it's good. It's like locked in, and it's sometimes it's more about feeling and rhythm and the emotion that comes out of it than like the perfectness of like the production or like that every single note is exactly where it needs to be. Like I think that's another big difference between the Stax and the Motown sound for sure, to build off your point. And like all the songs we've listened to so far, including this one, is just like you just hear it, man. You hear the big difference, the warmth and all that emotion.
I feel like it gives it a little bit more. I'm sorry, so sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it. No, go for it.
I feel like it just gives you more of that intimate feeling that you feel like you were a part of that recording when you hear it that way, as opposed to that ultra edited, smooth, buttery, which I can appreciate because I go, oh, that's so smooth and I love it. And
sweet,
it mellows me out. But this makes me like want to go do something, take action.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, right? Like it's the creativity piece of all of it. It's not so reined in, right? And I'm not saying that wasn't, happening up in Hitsville, but down here in Soulsville, like we let it ride, you know what I mean? And,
That's right.
And so
let it ride.
We let it ride. And sometimes that imperfections is just like a diamond, if you will, right? We want that in there because there's like I said, there's a grittiness, there's an authenticity there, if you will, right? And we want you to feel that in our music and everything we do creatively. So I'm glad you both brought out those points.
Yeah, I dig this song, man. I like it. I love it. I love the emotion. I love the rawness in that sense. I also love the honesty in it too, which I also have always, it just, I don't know, so much I like about it. It's a good song. It's just solid. And I'm glad, Amanda, you picked this one because like I said, this isn't one I had heard before. So I'm glad it's now in my repertoire of songs to listen to. So it is a good one. It's a good one for sure. So, all right. So where am I rating this? Where am I putting this song?
I got my pencil ready, sir.
Yeah. Where am I putting Going on Strike by The Emotions? What is my record rating on this one? I'm giving this a really solid 4.2.
Ooh. All right.
4.2.
We're going heavy with the fours today. I don't think I'm.
Yeah, well, I love it's just that rhythm, man, that sound. It's just I dig it. It's just so cool. So a 4.2. Yeah, it's solid. I mean, these are all songs I would not skip. Like they're all unskippable. That's the main thing. We talk about that. These are all unskippable tunes.
For sure.
Spoiler alert.
Sure. And Dominic, where are you placing this?
I'm giving it a 4.6. I'm giving it a 4.6.
Nice.
Again, it's a great record, and I love how it definitely, it's a dated piece, but it's still relevant because she's talking about Vietnam and stuff like that. Because according to the Library of Congress, when Black service members were in Vietnam, they made up 31% of the fighting force there in Vietnam, and they had the highest casualty rate and were the first to go to the front lines in the jungle in that regard. So her fears are real, right? And so I love it from that aspect, but solid 4.6, not just from a standpoint of the music itself, but also that it's a timepiece that speaks to an era in that regard.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
And quick fun fact is the band actually started off in the 50s as a Hutchison Sunbeams was their original name before. And they started off as a gospel trio featuring sisters Sheila 3, Wanda 4, and Jeanette Hutchinson 5.
I can't imagine that particular band.
Yeah.
Singing
and their dad played guitar.
I mean, that makes sense. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Amanda.
No, I was going to say, it just shows how packaging, branding is so important.
No, I was just gonna say you're gonna find a lot of stories like that when it comes to Stax, Motown, and the like, where a lot of those origins do come from gospel in the church, right? Because that's where, when we talk about Marian Anderson on Black is America, her beginnings were in this church. And also, fun fact, you may not know this, you've heard of Aretha Franklin and stuff like that. She was actually born here in Memphis, so not a lot of people know that.
I didn't know that.
So Aretha Franklin was actually born in Memphis, Tennessee. It's just one of those things where the gospel aspect doesn't surprise me at all, because it runs. We're in the Bible Belt, so obviously, right? So that gospel aspect is very synonymous with a lot of stories when you talk about Stax, Motown, and the like.
Fun fact: I didn't really understand what the Bible Belt was until I was like 28.
Fair enough.
I go, what is the Bible Belt? And the lady was like, "You've never heard that before?" I was like, "No." It makes sense.
One more thing I do want to point out too before we move on, and we haven't mentioned it yet, and I feel like it is a big part of also a Stax story, is let's just very quickly, I just want to be able to mention that you had the songwriting team of David Porter and Isaac Hayes, who worked actually very closely with but many of the artists. And so we talked a lot about Booker T and a lot of the other, but that songwriting team, like Isaac Hayes, and Dave Porter, all wrote a lot of those. They were like hit makers. They were just awesome. And a lot of the brains behind a lot of these songs, like a lot of songs. It's amazing how much, because people think of Isaac Hayes and right away you think, oh, Shaft and all that, and cool, awesome, but as a songwriter, as a producer, absolutely brilliant, and that songwriting team, him and David Porter, really belted out a lot of amazing songs.
I've actually met Dave Porter a few times. I had a cousin. So a few years back, Dave Porter had a music consortium here in Memphis, and he was trying to just, find new talent here in the city. And so my cousin, by marriage, was actually doing that first cohort of his consortium, right? Because Dave Porter wanted to bring music back. And also, I have another quick story in as well.
Oh, I love it. Bring it.
It may be kind of tied into the mama's baby, daddy's baby thing. So if you watch that documentary that Chris mentioned earlier, Union Planners, as far as who was funding a lot of stuff for Stax, whatever comes up as well. And I actually used to work at Union Planners back in my 20s, if you will. I was a teller, and there was the teller supervisor, Miss Marva, who taught me everything I know about banking and stuff like that. And she was very, very she was tough, right? She wanted to make sure I got things right and stuff like that. Until David Porter walked in, and I saw Miss Marva turn from this very stoic, tough woman to a giddy 20-year-old, and so I was like, Miss Marva, is there a story? And she was like, "It's none of your business, Dominic. It's none of your business." Okay, so so I don't know what the story is there, but I know there's a story there. So I just wanted to give you that story really quick. I thought it would be a fun story.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. There's some sparks. Some heat.
And that's the thing. Think about the time and all the sparks and heat that were going on. This was a good time.
Yeah,
right. This was a good time. Within music, within that bubble, let's say, right? Woo!
Yeah,
Ms. Marva,
good stuff. Really,
It was just funny to see her go change on a dime to this very tough lady to this like a fangirl, if you will. I don't know, but it was interesting. It was very interesting.
And somehow I can hear her say the words "mind your own business."
Oh, right.
So wow.
Right, of course, 100%. Mind your business, Dominic. Get back to work.
That's so wonderful. See, that's why I love our show so much, because the stories that come out from just a music discussion is the best. All right. Oh, so my goodness. So good. All right. So Dominic, let's move into your second song. I can't believe we're only on the second song.
That's why we only do two apiece, because otherwise this would be a 6-hour show.
It would.
Fair enough.
What was your second and final song to us?
Absolutely. So there's a very important fact I'll share, but I don't want to taint the scoring, if you will. So I'll share it after the scoring, right?
So right.
But one of the staples, one of the superstars who life was cut a little short, was Otis Redding. And so when you hear Otis Redding's music and his voice, it's like it makes you melt. Like you can hear because a lot of his songs are kind of sad, right? But you can feel his intensity, you can feel the sadness, you can feel the warmth of his voice. And so one of the songs I wanted to display today was "I've Been Loving You" by Otis Redding. It's a fantastic record. It's been spoofed a few times. If you're familiar with the Kobe Bryant Nike commercial from a few years ago when he was retired, they kind of turned it "I've Been Hating You," but that's where that comes from. But yeah, Otis Redding, "I've Been Loving You."
Yeah, absolutely. Let's listen to a little bit of this. Just play the whole thing.
Right. I know.
Too long to stop now.
No.
And you want to be free. My love is growing stronger as you become a habit to me. Ooh, I'm loving you too long. I don't want to stop now. With you, my life has been
Talk
so
about
wonderful.
perfection of a pause here and there, and how you were just like,
Can't stop now.
give it to me. What is it? What's next? You know?
Yeah. It's so great. The build-ups and the
And
immediate.
your love is growing cold. My love is growing stronger as our affair grows old. I've been loving you.
This song just takes you on such a journey.
It does. It does.
Too long.
I want to play the whole thing. I just because it brings you right in. I mean, and there's something. Otis's voice is just so. It's just so like him, man. It's just like the guy just had this beautiful natural ability to have a voice that just you hear
One
it.
of one.
Yeah, that emotion and it just sucks you right in. You're like, this is just this guy's voice, this man's voice is just so captivating, and every word he says is just like you're hanging on it because you feel it, you know. And that is just a God-given talent, man. It really is, to have that beautiful voice and be able to sing that way and bring it in like every single word and phrase. Absolutely outstanding. Outstanding.
I feel like there are songs that are earworms because of the tune, the beat. And then there's the songs that become the earworms because of the singer themselves. And I feel like when I hear any of his songs, the beat, the music, the instruments is secondary to that voice. 100%. And I'm hearing his voice. It's almost like he's just, voicing
you can
over
hear the confliction.
something.
You can hear the confliction.
Yeah.
You can hear the pain. You can hear all of it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean to cut you off.
No, but you're right. Like it leaves me with all of the feelings. Yeah. It's an experience beyond the ending of the song. And I just think it's such a talent, such a legend. I love how you said one of one. I've never heard that before in all of my years. One of one. That I'm going to say it a million times.
Yeah, it's just that when you hear him sing, it's just like you instantly know it's Otis. Like some artists sometimes, like it's like like okay, now that's who that is, right? But like he's one of one, right? I kind of mentioned that his life was cut short, kind of due to a plane crash. And I know a lot of times I remember. People like aunts and uncles telling me the story of how they felt and where they were when they got that news, right? At the time they equated it to Richie Valens and Buddy Holly, the day that rock and roll died. It was almost like the day soul died a little bit for them, right? Because again, like when you listen to Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, he's like, I met my home in Georgia. Like you just hear it's like, oh, just wrap me in a blanket, Otis. Just wrap
Yes.
me
Yeah.
in a blanket, right? So
Yep.
yeah, one of one.
It's like you are wrapped in the notes. And when
Right.
you brought up your aunts and your uncles, and it makes me think, and I think it's appropriate to bring up, I can't imagine what it was like living during those times. We'll never understand. I know, Dominic, you still, as far as we've come, we still have a long ways to go, right?
Right.
In our division and all the things. But for that particular era, it was real, it was raw. Every day, I'm sure it was something. And to have this type of music to escape to, I can't even imagine how important that was for that generation's, mental health, and that break of all, because we think our world sometimes is so bad. And you go, oh my gosh, there's so much bad that we keep hearing. And music is an escape. I can't even imagine the intensity of hearing a song like this, or any of the people that we featured, anyone from Stax Records, just having that break of, let's turn off the world for a moment and just escape. And Otis took so many people there. And I think how powerful.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up, Amanda. And I'll kind of go here just for a minute, because again, you're talking about the late '60s, early '70s, and as a Memphian, you are constantly reminded of King, the assassination, all of the things, right? And so it was a bit of an escape, even if it's just brief. It was a bit of an escape, and if I'm being honest, we're still feeling the ramifications of that era, like here in Memphis and beyond. I actually have a theory that the assassination of King led to the economic shaming of Memphis as a whole, because a lot of people dipped out, because of that it's like a bad taste in your mouth, right? I still go to places, say, oh, where you from? I'm from Memphis. Like, oh, y'all killed King. Well, like, no, I wasn't there. But but it's that stigma, right? And so to go through that era with them was definitely trying times. There was constant reminders of the sanitation strike. There was constant reminders of coloreds, go to the back or whatever. There was constant reminders of all of these things, and so with Stax Records, it was not only a way for people who look like me to escape, but it was also a way to show that, like, hey, we can contribute to America. We can contribute in this way. Like, we are here too. The story of America without Black America is incomplete. And so, and we've proven that time and time again through the music, through the scoring of, like, think about all the movies we've named so far, right? And how, like, wow, I didn't know that was Stax Records, right? And so again, it definitely was an escape, but that the way you hear the sadness in Otis's voice and all the other music, a piece of that struggle is in that music, and you're hearing it's fun, it's light, and this and the other, but a piece of that struggle, if not a large part of that struggle, is 100% in that music.
And I wonder if that's why anytime I'm listening to songs such as these, it just takes me back right to there. Talk about time travel. Like, this is almost
100%.
that port, because I feel like they're leaving their story, their legacy, their feelings of that time, that era, in these words and notes. And I feel like maybe that is why we're instantly transported back to a time that otherwise I can't explain why it has that feeling to me.
No, I get that. And like I said, from my aunts and uncles, sometimes that feeling of transporting back is a bit of confliction. There is the side of, hey, I remember, us changing out the light bulb and having a fun time at the house and having the music and the food and stuff like that. But there's also what happened earlier that day, because you was at a strike, at a sit-in, a march, or something along those lines. So it is that duality piece that comes with this music also. It can't be ignored.
Yeah. So powerful. So powerful. This is all while I'm just so happy you said, hey, let's do this. And we were so excited because we knew conversation like this would come out. And it's so powerful to remember and never forget those times, so we never repeat all of what happened.
I appreciate that opportunity to do so.
Yeah, no, this has been great, and I'm really happy we got to do this episode today, because once again, diving into these songs and talking about the music, the people behind the music, the reason why these songs were created, and these kinds of conversations. I mean, this is why music is so great, because you can have these conversations and you can talk about these things, and these songs, bring that out. And what better way to bring people together than through song, through music. And in this song, ironically,
100%.
yeah, it's a great unifier. And this song was actually Otis Redding's best-selling single and biggest hit while he was still alive. And a little bit too, this is coming from Song Facts, and from Booker T, because he played piano on almost all of Otis's hits, including this one. And in speaking to Mojo magazine in 2011, he recalled, "My experience having been a church player and having had the classical experience really helped me there. The walk-ups on those songs are classical type walk-ups," because we were talking about some of the highs and lows in this song. "And the way the chorus progresses to where the chromatic strike, that emotion, those were integral to me as a person and to the song. Working on something like that, Otis and me became very good friends, spending time on the road or in the studio together. I've Been Loving You and Try a Little Tenderness. Those were, I think, some of our best moments together." And there's a great, if you guys can watch, I mean, it's on YouTube. It's amazing. Is watching him at the Monterey Pop Festival. Booker T, MG's backing band, Otis singing. It's just absolutely outstanding. And the audience is like blown away because a lot of people in that audience is the first time hearing a lot of that kind of soul music and experiencing Otis Redding, and like the faces and the expression on the crowd is just like, oh my God. And during this song too, with the whole, it's just outstanding. So encourage you to all go watch footage from Monterey Pop Festival, the Otis Redding's performance. It's really something special. Thank God they got it on film.
No kidding. All right. So let's get into the ratings. I know we had a lot of dialogue about this.
We did,
and I think,
but it's good. I knew this was going to happen with this song because it's Otis. Otis deserves a whole show on his own.
And I believe it was songfacts.com that also said that he wrote this in a hotel room.
Yes, he did. It says in a Buffalo hotel room.
Which we often say so many times. And there's another story with Chris's last song that I'll mention during that time. So often something happens from a napkin, from a hotel room, on a bus, and you just hear that over and over. And to be able to put that into something that becomes such a hit and is such a staple to our history, I just love it. So for all those reasons, this is a 5-record song for me. It is beautiful, and I love it so much.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is a 5-record. It is a perfect song, and it is 5 records. This is definitely on the Eternity playlist. I mean, almost any Otis Redding song, honestly, is going to be a 5-record. But I mean, really, this is when we talk about what makes a 5-record song, and obviously it's very subjective, based on your personal taste and styles. I mean, that's what art is, and but for me, and obviously for Amanda, I can never get enough of hearing Otis Redding and the songs and his voice and just the way this song is and the build-ups and it's just the way we just talked about it. It's just absolutely outstanding. So yeah, it is a 5-record song. That is a perfect Eternity playlist song.
So good. Because
I love that.
Even though it's a very somber-ish melody, it's still very empowering at the end of the day. It's a magical combination. Love it. All right, so 2 5 records. Dominic, you're killing it.
I appreciate. I kind of cheated on that one, to be fair, but it was just one of those things.
I do it all the time.
Amanda breaks the rules all the time.
Listen, it's just that we couldn't talk about Stax Records without Otis. It was just not.
Agreed.
You just can't, right? So there was that part, but also that is me and my wife's song. That's our song. That's our wedding song. So it's like
awesome.
So it's like that's why I didn't want to. I wanted to withhold that fact before you because I didn't want any bias judging. So
and I would have.
What's great too, one more thing about Otis, and then we'll move on, is I also found, and this is where like serendipity and just like things happen, is that Otis was actually a roadie who showed up to Stax Records because he was roadieing for the band. I can't remember which artist it was or which band it was. Do you remember, Dominic?
I can't remember, actually. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's
but
fine.
I do remember this story, Yeah,
so he was a roadie, and it's in that documentary. So once again, watch that documentary. We'll have the link in the notes and all that, and but they go into it, and he roadies, and he's even saying, he's like, oh, I want to sing for you guys. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, if there's time, we'll let you sing. And they got through all the recording of all that. And they're like, all right, there's some time. Go ahead, sing, whatever. Let's go see what you got. And they said the minute he started singing, it was like, oh my God. Like they could not believe it. The way they tell the story is absolutely, I'm not doing it enough justice, but once again, it's just like when something's meant to be. And then by that moment in time, that all those things, I mean, we talk about all these great artists, but I mean, really, Otis Redding is what put Stax Record on the map. And 100%. It was, from a business standpoint, he was their best-selling artist. And when he did pass away, unfortunately, like losing him and a lot of that sort of like Stax, was never, they started going through things on top of like some of the bad business deals and stuff that they had done. Yeah. But it never was the same after that because he was just their biggest star.
For sure. And there was a second renaissance after that with, with like Isaac Hayes kind of leading the charge and stuff like that. But you're right, though. You're talking about, its biggest star for obvious reasons, right? And also, really quickly, talk about betting on yourself, right? Like, I'm a roadie, right? I'm a roadie for a while. And it's like, I'm going to get my chance. But when I get my chance, woo, boy.
Yeah,
it's going to be over. I'm going for it, right? So there's that. But, you talk about his death in 1967 and then King assassination the year after that. So it was just back to back for the city of Memphis, where it's like, it was a lot of stuff going on there. So, yeah. A lot of heart, definitely a lot of heart, but but again, it is undeniable the talent, the standard bearer of Stax Record. That is Otis Redding.
And I just shared a quick comment on the screen. And I should have realized Dave was still checking. Dave is our resident historian as well, who's like basically the third. Well, he's the VP of Song Swap Showdown. Otis was a roadie for Johnny and the Pine Toppers. That was the name of the band. So thank you, Dave, saving the day.
As he usually does.
As he always does. So, all right. Moving on to my song, which I was like, man, once again, we can't talk about this one. I also stacked the deck a little bit here, Dominic, with this pick because, Sam and Dave, I mean, come on. It's just, what a great combo. And so the thing I didn't know, which in watching that documentary that I keep referring to, is that I didn't realize Sam and Dave were actually an Atlantic Records recording artist that were like lent to Stax Records because they had this distribution deal with Atlantic Records, which we're talking about bad business practices, wound up biting them in the butt later on after things went down. But they were kind of on loan to them. But I never knew that part of the story. I just thought Sam and Dave were Stax Records recorded, which they were, but like we're talking about the business side of things, and they're always gonna be Stax Records artists for me, but that was an interesting part of the story I just didn't know.
Listen, the Sam and Dave and love are Stax artists, right? I mean, obviously on Black and White, because that's why they sent them down to Memphis, right? To kind of find that sound. And so, so I mean, again, on Black and White, they were Atlantic artists,
right? But business wise,
but like the soul and the heart, they're Stax artists through and through,
through and through. 100% agree. And Hold On, I'm Coming is this is the song. I'm like, I gotta put this song on here. I love this song. And especially we talked about Blues Brothers. This song was in the Blues Brothers, which is one of my favorite movies of all time because it's just, I find that to be a perfect film. It's a comedic masterpiece. And the fact that Dan Aykroyd and Joe such like lovers of soul music and like we're definitely huge Stax Records fans, as we've talked about, and just based their entire persona on the Blues Brothers on that. And I just love that they did that. And the song this is where I heard that song for the first time for me was in Blues Brothers. That's where I was like, whoa, this is awesome. Sam and Dave, like, and this is like a younger version of me. So I'm like in the 80s when this is out but that's where I discovered it. And I was like, oh my God, I love this sound. This is just fantastic. And that was my reason why it's on this list. Cause I'm like, man, I can't have this conversation without throwing in like Sam and Dave, and especially Hold On, I'm Coming. And yes, Amanda, I know that you're chomping at the bit to tell the story about how this song. So go ahead, Amanda, share everybody the history behind Hold On, I'm Coming.
Well, someone was on the pot. When I say pot, I mean the toilet.
Someone was on the throne, the porcelain throne,
and said, "Hold on, I'm coming." Which
Yep.
how many times have those words been said to somebody
Yeah.
through a
Hold
bathroom
on, I'm
door?
coming.
Hold on, I'm coming. Mostly by men.
Yeah. And we're
No
talking about the
offense.
very famous, we discussed the dynamic duo of songwriting for Stax Records, David Porter and Isaac Hayes. And David Porter was on the toilet.
I love a toilet.
And Isaac Hayes, and he's like yelling at him to hurry up, get back as he so he could get back to work, as they were frustrated with the lack of progress they'd made that day. And Porter responded, "Hold on, man, I'm coming." And that immediately inspired Porter to quickly finish his business and excitedly told Hayes that "Hold on, I'm coming" would be a great title for his song.
And here we are.
I love it.
I mean, there you go. One of an iconic songs, and came about from
His
being on
wrong
the John.
realization turned out to
Yeah.
be excellent.
So great.
A lot of great ideas happen in the shower, on the toilet. Like, there's just things. So he just was brave enough to say it a lot.
Yeah.
Sounds like you shared that story often.
Yep. Absolutely. So all
But
right. So
very
let's
classic.
play a little bit of "Hold On, I'm Coming,"
Let's
which
do
once
it.
again is a song. The minute you hear the opening notes, you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I know that song."
Don't you ever be sad. Lean on me in times of bad. When the day comes and you're down and I'm in trouble and I'm about to drown, just hold on. I'm coming. Hold on. I'm coming. I'm on my way. Your cover. If you get cold, yeah, I will be your cover. Don't have to worry, 'cause I'm here. Don't need to suffer, baby, 'cause I'm here. Just hold on. I'm coming.
And I feel like this has been on so many commercials.
I'm coming. Hold on.
I mean,
I'm coming.
how hooky is that? I love how this
So
stacks. It's such like just locks you right in. I love it. Absolutely love it. Great big sounding song. Great sing along. The horns, just everything about the song is absolutely. It just is wall of sound. I mean that classic wall of sound. But this is. I mean, it's just blasts out of the speakers. Like listening to this in the car.
Yeah.
This is a great. Throw it on in the car, crank it up, and just do like a 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour.
Or
But I mean,
35.
honestly, it's just like, let's go, But I always think about that too, because I mean, that's what in Blues Brothers, which is why it's like he puts like a set in
I can't
and
sing.
it turns it up, and that's during like the first police chase. And it's like, that's all I think about. And I'm like, yes, this is that. It's a cruising song. It's loud. Like, let's go. Like, it's on.
I love it. I love that each music element within this song has its own moment to shine, to your point. Like,
It really does.
like there's the vocals, there's a this, there's a that. It all like just really comes in at the perfect moment, shines, and then goes away so the next thing can shine. It's a classic.
Yeah, this is one of these songs where I wish I could dance. I wish I knew how to like actually dance and not be like a spaz. I'm like, like it's just like I have no moves at all. But like, if I knew how to dance, I would love to dance to this song.
But this is where
Otherwise, I'm just like,
I love this music so much because Motown, I mean, you've got to have movements. Like there is a whole thing that you got to look like you know what you're doing. I feel like with Stax music, a toe tap and a shoulder bop is just as appropriate as some heavier movement.
Don't forget the face. You got to make the face with it too.
Like,
and the bass, like bass is way
nailed
up.
it, Chris. That's it, Chris. That's it. There you go. You got to have that.
what is it?
That's about all I can do.
That's fine. It's perfect.
Yeah.
What's the Dusty Kid on Charlie Brown, the one that does the thing and he just bops his head? That's me. Like, I don't think I can make the face.
It's fine. It's fine. You're still welcome. Still welcome.
You got to pretend like you're playing the bass all the way up here.
There it is. Chris nails it.
That's it. That's
it.
That's the luck.
I don't have it, but that's okay. I'll just tap my toe and feel like I fit in.
Tap your toe.
I'm just gonna tap my toe and have that toxic confidence of whatever, like I belong.
Yeah. And then we may have to do a reel and ask for everybody to do their best, like that face, that grooving face, and we'll put a compilation together of everybody doing that.
Paula, get on it. I know you're watching.
Yeah. I know. Paula.
Paula will make the face. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. This is a wonderful song. I love it. I love the history of it. I love the, delivery of it. This also is a 5-record song for me, Chris.
Wow. Really? Holy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can't not like it.
All right. 5 records.
Dominic, what say you? Where do you rate this one?
Absolutely a 5, right? And Chris talked about it earlier, right? Like you put this song, it's Friday, it's payday, then you throw this on the way to work, or probably leaving work or whatever, like, and it just puts you in a mood like it's the weekend, I'm about to groove. I'm like, oh yeah, it's on. So definitely a 5 record, but also it's a 5 record from a standpoint of there's a civil rights tie-in as well, because the song is about friendship, right? And so when a fellow person was in trouble, like, hold on, I'm coming, right? So it also speaks to that as well, if you found yourself in trouble. So there's definitely that tie-in for me. So that's why it's a 5 record. Definitely
Help
a 5
is on the way.
Help is on the way.
Oh yeah,
love it.
absolutely. I was just reading something too. Which go ahead, Amanda. No, you finish your thought. I just read something. I'm like, oh, yeah,
tally up, because I was obviously a loser. And you and Dominic, Chris, were like neck to neck. So you guys are the champions of today's show. I will just say. Here's another trophy, Dominic. Here's a trophy. It just happens to be Magic Mind.
I'll take it.
With Bacopa.
Bacopa Minari.
Minaria.
And mushrooms.
And mushrooms.
Lion's mane and cordyceps.
Boom.
I love it.
So yeah, one last thing, just because we were just talking about dancing and all that. So, and this is from the songfacts.com. The same article was it said that we've been talking about this. So while Motown worked hard on visual styles and choreography of the artists, Stax left most of that up to the singers, which meant that most of them just came out and sang. Sam and Dave were the exception, doing lots of crazy dancing and improvisation
100%.
in their stage shows, which is always on display when they perform the song. And yes, 1,000%. Like when you go back and watch the videos, once again, you have to watch. There's all these things. They exist on YouTube of these artists. It's like the song gets you fired up, and then you watch that, you're like, yes. It's just like they're going nuts. They just don't care. That's like me, a complete spasm. Just like, I don't care.
Yeah, there's even in that documentary you was talking about, like there's the part where they're trying to get Sam and Dave off stage, and Sam and Dave just kept dancing.
Yeah,
it's like Sam and Dave, everybody.
Yeah, and then it comes back.
Sam and Dave, everybody.
Yep,
right.
So great.
I can relate.
I'm dying.
Like
that would be Amanda.
You know the little hook thing that you see in like the shows or comedies where they hook people to pull them off the stage?
Right.
That's what we would need.
Yeah. I always love that too. By the way, I always love that shtick that James Brown would do with that, like coming off stage and be like, "I'm tired," and put the cape on him, and then he comes. I always love that whole thing. I think it's great.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love
Dave
it.
saying thanks, Dominic. I didn't know about the civil rights tie-in.
Of course, 1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah. And James Scott checking in from across the pond.
Whoa.
Big game, James.
He just woke up after the Super Bowl. Wow.
I will admit,
you were up late, man.
I didn't watch it at all. I didn't watch the commercials. I didn't watch the game. Nothing.
Yeah, I know. I texted Amanda because her girl was singing the national anthem. I'm like, it's Reba. And you're like, I'm not even watching. I'm like, but it's your girl. We talk about Reba on this show all the time.
I was watching Good Girls and learning how to rob stores.
Yeah. Dave, when I speak at places, I ask if they get me off stage with a trapdoor to giant vaudeville hook.
And I have to pull up Paula's comment here where it says, I now want to go to the Jazz Underground Lounge. And so all this can make me think of is Adventures in Babysitting, when she's trying to run through, and then what was his name? Gene? No, something. Oh, no, I have Otis in my head. It was Gene Collins something, but I forget. I can't get his first name. But he was like a jazz artist, and he would say, "No one gets out of here without singing the blues." Do you guys know what part of Adventure? Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
because that's
what
when
makes
they're.
me-
Yep, I remember that. Because they wind up at the club and all that.
Yes,
Like no one gets out,
club.
and they do the whole thing.
Adventures in Babysitting Blues.
Yeah.
I always wanted that moment. That moment to get up there and sing the blues.
Well, you still got time. You still have a chance.
Are there some underground like jazz or blues lounges around you guys?
Absolutely.
That we can just
Up here,
happen-
yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Because there ain't none around here.
There are some around here. And Amanda, I'm 40 minutes from New York City.
We're gonna have to just make magic happen because
And so-
magic can't happen here.
And so in Memphis, there's a championship blues competition here every year. I think around May or some sort. So yeah, that's definitely something always kind of popping off like that.
Nice.
So, absolutely.
Nice.
Very nice. Oh, man, what a wonderful show this has been. This has been so much fun. And
This
we
has been awesome.
didn't even like scratch the surface of everything that we could have talked about around this Stax Records. And
Could I actually share one last thing?
you can share as
Oh, yeah.
many things as you want.
Just
You
real
are our
quickly,
guest. You can do whatever you want.
No, so I would be remiss in not highlighting the potential missed opportunity during the era of Stax, and that is with you talk about Sam and Dave, you talk about David Porter and Isaac Hayes and Otis Redding. There was a missed opportunity not collaborating with the one and only Elvis Presley. Who definitely recorded, some hits like Suspicious Minds and stuff like that, in 69 and stuff like that, which is right in the heart of that Stax era. And funny enough, he did have some recording sessions at Stax Records, I believe in 73, but just talk about the missed opportunity there of what could have came out of those that collaboration. It would have been pretty amazing.
It really would have been. I mean, you had sent that article offline, and I read that, and I go, "Oh my gosh, can you?" Really, like, it's like, how did it not happen? But it just
different time.
It didn't.
Throw in some BB King in there, stuff like that. It's just,
I mean, really, it's
what
just
could
like
have been. What could
with
have been
all that percolating, and it's like, how did it just didn't not? But it was a missed opportunity for sure, and it would have really helped Stax out too when they could have used a little extra juice.
100%. But also at the same time, just Stax Record now is Stax Records is often a museum and a school. There's the Stax Academy and stuff like that, and many of the old Stax cadre of artists come by and speak to the students, jam with them a few times and stuff like that. And so trying to definitely recreate that magic there on 926 East Macklemore, which is not too far from where I grew up in South Memphis. So Stax is alive and well. It's just trying to, just part of a new generation now. So I love to see the old and the new and stuff like that kind of collaborate, because Steve Cropper has come back and spoke to the students. Dave Porter, obviously, stuff like that. Dave Porter actually dates one of the news anchors here, so that's just a little bit of tea there for you. So there, a little bit of tea there for you. But Stax Records is definitely a legacy to be had here in Memphis. It's one we cherish, and we definitely wanted to see it keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's actually, and after watching that too, I was like, oh man, I really want to get down there and visit and just, see all that, see the building and the theater. It just would be awesome to see. Yeah, Dave is saying, I've only been to Memphis a few times. Beautiful city. Yeah.
Come on back, Dave. Come through. I love it.
Dominic with the tea.
You gotta give a little bit of tea. I mean, I'm here on the ground, so you hear stuff, you see stuff. That's it. There you go.
That's right.
So
yeah. All right, Amanda.
Yes.
We have reached that point in the show, and this is just because we can keep going and going and going and going. And but before we sign off, we do have one more thing left to do.
We have the Wheel of Show themes to do. Dominic, buckle up because this is special.
All right.
That's right. It's time to spin the wheel. Dominic's like, can I jump off the feet? Is that possible?
He's here for the long haul, and we appreciate
Yeah.
it.
You're here for the spinning of the wheel theme. So just as we do, obviously last week we didn't because we knew we were doing this special, amazing episode, which we were excited to do. And we could go on and on forever. But we do have to pick. We do have to end it at some point. And we also now have to pick next week's show theme.
Let's do it.
God help us all, whatever it's going to be. It really could be anything.
It could be about egg rolls for all we know.
Yeah, I have no idea. There's so much stuff added to this wheel now. It's ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
What do we got? Back in time. 1984. Holy smokes. We're jumping into our DeLoreans, into our time machines.
I love
and going
it.
back to the tender year of 1984.
Okay. Let's digest that's 40 years ago versus the 20 I think that it is in my head.
Yeah, it's
40
years ago.
So 84 is very timely. Yeah. Dave says my year is fine. I was really cute in 84. Got very awkward early 90s.
I think we have to dig out our pictures from 1984 and share them on the show.
Paula says she wasn't even born. Baby Paula.
We don't want to hear it, Paula.
Well, it still was a good year.
It was a great year. It was a great year.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm
so
up
many
for that challenge.
There's been a lot of awesome records that came out, and actually I did that episode where we were looking at records that turned 40, and that was when you got sick, and so I was like, I gotta go on the air. So I literally did. I talked about just some of the classic rock and pop records that came out in 1984, that records that turned 40. I was like doing that. I'm like, I'm old. I remember when this came out. I'm super old. But there is a lot of great songs that released that year. So the challenge is going to be, Amanda, is finding songs for each other that we don't think the others heard before. If we played by the rules of the game, we have to find songs that we don't think the others heard before. So there is that. So we could use the community help.
Yep.
For sure. Amanda did not watch MTV back in the day, so there could be some MTV hits. Yeah. But she did go roller skating.
I did. That was so. Which, speaking of roller skating, can I tell you how many people sent me text that there was roller skating during the halftime show last night? So I'm usually very half asleep at the time that the halftime show would have been.
Yeah.
And my phone
Usher bought it last night.
Blowing up with roller skates. I was like, brought him back in style. You're welcome, Usher. You're welcome.
He obviously watched your TikToks and was like, oh, roller skating, what a great idea for me to incorporate into the halftime show. So yeah, you're right.
And I will say, I did see some TikTok clips of him roller skating. I'm rather impressed at his ability. Like, that was pretty good.
I was impressed too. That was the last thing I would have thought would have happened during his show, was a whole roller skating sequence.
I didn't think that was going to get whipped out, so I might have paid attention to it if I knew the skates were going to be involved.
I think didn't he do that? I think he may have done that in his residency too in Vegas, where he had kind of brought out the roller skates. I believe.
Okay, so I guess it's like a mini version of the show.
Yeah, I think so.
Well done, Usher. Well done.
Dave is saying in 1984 he was a senior.
That's okay.
That's absolutely fine.
That's okay.
So he was a senior. Paul wasn't born yet. I love how she's gonna rub that into our face now. We're gonna keep hearing about that.
You know she's gonna say that in tomorrow's Clubhouse room. And I just want to remind everyone, I wasn't born in 84. Ha ha ha. Can you hear her saying it right now?
Yeah, I can hear her saying it.
Her voice and all.
Guys, I wasn't born in 84. Dave, I need to recommend a song from the Eurythmics 1984 record. Yeah, I guarantee Amanda hasn't heard any of the deep cuts from that record.
For sure.
She's saying, and Paul is saying from Usher, he's from Atlanta. He does that a lot, even in his Vegas residency. Okay.
To Dominic's point, too. Man, you guys are so much more trendy than I am. I never got past the 80s somehow. I just stay in those decades.
Yeah. Well, you did have a lost 90s era, which we discussed, where you forgot about the 90s version of Amanda.
Yeah, I just kind of don't remember her. I don't need to, apparently.
Yeah, Dominic, Amanda had a lost decade or
Okay.
years. I don't know. We claim that Amanda doesn't remember her 90s time. So
No. I mean, I met Marcus in 99. So that's kind of when my memories started.
Gotcha.
Right, doing push-ups, single arm push-ups.
Yeah, that's when my life began. Incidentally, that's when his ended.
So no memory of the AOL sound, dial-up sound, and none of that, huh? That's okay. Fair enough.
There's so many things you push to the back of your brain, so you don't remember those things.
56K,
Right.
and then DSL or DSL. No, DSL dial.
It was DSL, yeah.
28. Oh my
Man, we
God.
used to think that was lightning fast back in the day.
gosh,
DSL.
Yeah.
So funny. So
Oh my
funny.
goodness.
Well, this has been a wonderful
Woo.
show. I think this show and this music makes talking about some really hard memories from times gone by and easily transitions it into really not tough conversations. So I'm really glad that this music exists that gives us the ability to have these conversations and kind of remember where we have come from, where we've been. I just love it all. So Dominic, I appreciate you taking your 5 hours to spend with us this morning.
Yeah. Thanks for spending your entire Monday morning with us.
No worries. Like I said, I want to say thank you, Amanda and Chris, for allowing me to kind of share this a little bit and have fun with you. And like I said, I appreciate the fact that it wasn't scripted, because sometimes it's kind of nice to break up the monotony of my work and stuff like that. So this was therapeutic and a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Good. No, I'm glad. Yeah, there's
Notice he
nothing
didn't say
scripted
train
about
wreck.
the show. Yeah, he's like, but
You omitted that word. It was so much fun.
No.
Unscripted.
No, I didn't mean it like that at all.
Welcome to our world, Dominic. Now you know how Jeff felt.
That's why we don't get very many guests volunteering.
They're like, I don't want to play this.
He's like, noted.
No, this was absolutely really just awesome, Dominic. Thank you for approaching us with this idea. This was just great. I mean, for me, I definitely love doing this show. I love listening to these songs. I already listened to these songs and just being able to go deeper and explore a lot of the meanings, as always, as we say, going in, hearing the stories, learning more about it. It's just something. It's another great part of doing this show for me that I absolutely love, because it really makes you start to think about, where did this song come from? Who are these artists? What is this about? And then diving more into the history of Stax Records as a label was great.
Right.
And really, this was just awesome. And by the way, for anybody else out there listening, if really, I will say, I know whether you like Spotify or don't like Spotify, but they have done a really good job. And Stax Records has their own page there, and they have put together some amazing playlists. So great ways to just get into Stax Records, by going through their playlists, and they have them curated even by holidays. And the Thanksgiving one is one.
Yes.
I saved the Thanksgiving one. I'm like, oh, this is really good. So yeah. So they have a lot of great, by the way, we're not endorsed by Spotify. I'm just sharing that. They got a lot of great ways.
They
for
have
you
a
to start
Halloween
diving.
one.
Yeah. If you want to just get involved and start listening to Stax and exploring it, they really have done a lot of the hard work for you and said, here's some great playlists. It's a great introduction into the world of Stax Records. So hopefully what you heard today, if you've never heard anything from Stax Records, has got you interested in wanting to explore more of that music, learn more about the history and the stories behind what made Stax Records a great label and what made these artists amazing. And, and just start, just listen to Otis Redding. Your life will be so much better. Instantly better. So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here on Song Swap Showdown. We do hope you had fun with us today. We can't wait to hang out with you again next week when we are covering songs from 1984. So let the song suggestions start flying. Of course, we'll post everything in the Facebook group and all social media spots, so that way you can share your picks with us. And you never know, one or two, maybe all three of your songs may wind up on our playlist. So definitely let us know. Dominic, thank you so much again for spending time with us today. Any last parting words, my friend?
No, just wanted to say thank you again for having me, and make sure you check out, that's Spotify list with Stax Records, and just really immerse yourself in the music and have fun with it.
Awesome. All right, Dominic, thank you so much. Amanda, Any final words?
Just we will put all of Dominic's links to follow him. So go support Dominic and all of his creations as well. They'll be in the show notes. So go support him.
All right. Awesome. And with that, everybody, we will see you next week. To get notified every single time we drop a new episode of Chris and Amanda's Song Swap Showdown, just hit that follow button wherever you get your podcasts. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the show, please use the email address in our show notes and we'll get right back to you. And last but not least, please feel free to follow us over on our social accounts on Instagram and TikTok at Song Swap Showdown, or join our ever-growing community in our Facebook group by using the link in our show notes. Thanks for listening.